Hey everyone, welcome to the Rachel Cruze Show. All right, before marriage begins, there's some things that you want to talk about. Yep. I mean, there's been so many books and articles written about the things to, talk about before marriage, and or if you don't, the things that cause divorce and conflict and tension. So as much as you can, talk about things before you get married. And I'll say this, you can talk about a lot, and then once you're in the marriage, things may shift, It's like before you have kids, where you're like, oh, I will never, and then you do it. Like, it's one of those things. But being on the same page before you walk down the aisle about these big topics in life are really, really crucial. So we're gonna cover 5 things that you wanna make sure you talk about before marriage. Number 1 is religion. This is kind of like the center of the car, if you will, right? So like, this is the thing that a lot of your decisions are made out of, your value system, everything. And so if faith is a big part of your life, obviously you want to be on the same page with that with your spouse or your soon-to-be spouse. You want to be able to talk about, okay, how are we going to do life together? And again, out of your convictions and your faith, a lot of life decisions are made. So that's a really important part of marriage. So talk about that. Also, your personality styles. Yeah, opposites attract. So you're both probably very different. Everything of how you make decisions, how you handle conflict, what makes you feel loved. Like, all of these things can be so, so different. And that's the beauty of it, right? You don't want to marry someone that's just like you, because then life's kind of boring. So I think there's a beauty in marrying someone that does have a totally different personality than you. And obviously a lot of things are shaped in our personality, from our upbringing to life experiences, all of that. But being able to say, hey, this is how I tend to be wired. So let's talk about that. I mean, like Winston and I, for instance, we are so opposite on everything. Like, it's so funny. We laugh all the time because I'm like, our premarital counselor told us in one session, I'll never forget this. She looked at Winston and she said, yeah, Rachel, she's really urgent. And that's gonna probably frustrate you sometimes. And I was like, excuse what? I'm not urgent. What are you talking about? I'm not urgent. I'm not urgent. What? Yeah. So we'll be doing something. And he's like, yeah, I feel a little bit of urgency from you, Rachel. And I'm like, I know. Because I'm like, I just want to just quick. I want to solve it. I want to do it. And he's like, listen, let's process, get some other options. It is so funny. The way we make decisions and do conflict, all of it, it's so opposite. But iron sharpens iron. I really believe that. And so there's a beauty in saying, hey, there is strengths and weaknesses to both of us. But when you can call those things out and communicate about it, it makes it so much easier, so much smoother. And so there's a lot of assessments out there that really dig into your personality. So some of my favorite, I love the Enneagram, Myers-Briggs. I love DISC, the 5 Love Languages, that book. Oh, I mean, there's so many great things out there, great tools to help you. And then I love assessments so much that I actually created one called the Know Yourself Money Assessment. And so this will help you and your fiance, significant other, spouse, get on the same page when it comes to money. And I mean, it's crazy because money touches every single part of our lives. So knowing your significant other well is really important. So the Know Yourself Money Assessment, it's an in-depth survey that you both take about your experiences and your core beliefs about money. And then each of you will get over 20 pages of personalized insights, plus your results will be paired up into one big report that will help you learn more about each other. So this is an incredible tool. And if you want to know more about it, make sure to text assessment to 33789. All right, another topic. Obviously, we kind of just touched on it, but it's true. Money. Yeah, money is a point of tension for a lot of couples out there. It's one of the leading causes of divorce. So before you get married and walk down the aisle, making sure that you guys are talking about money. And really, you need to be in complete agreement about what's going on with your finances and where you both stand. So you need to know, does your significant other have debt? You need to be able to say, yeah, here's how much debt I have. You need to be able to talk about what money was like growing up. You need to know what your financial goals are, your financial habits. Like, if one loves using the credit card because they get credit card points and the other doesn't, like, you gotta talk about that. And then even think big picture. Think like, okay, so what kind of legacy do we wanna leave when it comes to our money? I mean, have all of these conversations, and the Know Yourself Money Assessment is actually gonna help you provide a lot of these conversation starters for you too. So it makes it really, really easy. All right, the next topic you gotta talk about is in-laws. Yeah, So you want to be able to say, okay, how much of our life do we want our in-laws to be a part of? How involved do we want them? How uninvolved do we want them? Do we want them around a lot? What do holidays look like? Do you switch houses? Do you go to different ones, different holidays? You try to do them all? I mean, have all of those conversations. If you can lay out your expectations up front when it comes to in-laws, and again, your expectations for each other, I think it's really important. And then last but not least, talk about kids. It's kind of a lighter topic, so I'm sure you've covered it before you get married, but you do want to know, okay, how many kids do you want? How many kids do I want? How far do we want them apart? Like 10 years or 10 months? I don't know. You know, how are we going to discipline? How did you grow up? I mean, childcare, is one of you going to work? One of you stay home? Are you both going to work? I mean, like, what's going to happen? So having those conversations about kids, again, is really, really key. And so, I mean, these topics, you guys, I know they're big, and talking about them before marriage is kind of one of those things where, like, okay, we can set these expectations and have this information, and it might change when you get into marriage, and that's okay. But working together as a team and practicing having these conversations before marriage is going to set you up for success, I promise you. So this is a huge part of life and making sure that you're both on the same page. So just remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.